this is Solo P1. Welcome to the Flaming Tarmac. I think it's episode 70. Episode 70. And we're going to be talking about this weekend. It's going to be the Italian Grand Prix. And yeah, we're going to talk about the Italian Grand Prix, Imola, a famous track. Actually, this track might be off the calendar, and I hope it's not. There's rumours that it might come off the calendar. I do not want this race to come off the calendar. It means so much to a lot of Formula One fans. To me, it's a very historic track, and I hope they keep this track on the calendar. Really, really, really. I do not want them to take this off the calendar at all. So, yeah. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring in my Coke, who's my partner in crime, Toto Abba. How's it going, Toto?
Yeah, it's going well, man. Going well. We've just done a video in it, and
crazy, isn't it?
yeah, everything's all good.
So we've got the Italian Grand Prix. What you think? What you think about it?
Italian Grand Prix. Look, we all know which Italian Grand Prix is it? Imola or Imola? Imola is a historic track, man. It's an absolute historic track. Lots of places to overtake, I'll say. There is a few tight ends. But to be fair, I'll go back on what I just said. There's barely any place to overtake. Of course, you've got the main straight, which is a king for overtaking. It's one of the biggest DRS zones. It's such a big DRS zone, including the fast bend and the main straight into a little twisty bit, which slows drivers' momentum down. It's where some dive bombs happen and that big straight is where all the overtakes and all that action is going to happen. Usually with this track, there's usually carnage going into the first corner, since the first corner is only tight. Yeah. First corner is only tight. It's a famous track where Ayrton Senna died. Yeah. It's a really, really historic track. A lot of memories, a lot of historic memories as well. And yeah, every time we go to this track, they always mourn Ayrton Senna's death. I think last time it was Sebastian Vettel.
Drove his car.
Actually drove his car and actually carrying out a whole getting people to come round and put all the flags up, put all the memorials up and all that. It's really nice what Sebastian Vettel done for Ayrton Senna, because we always mourn him and always remember him when we come to this track. It's where he died at the end of the day. But look, Imola, historic track. It's going to be fun. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good race. And hopefully, Lando gets a good result out of it.
And so what we're going to do before we start talking about it and the weekend, then we're going to talk about what happened in the last race. Before we do that, I want to thank everybody who listens to us on the podcast, because remember, this one goes on the podcast. This is for iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. Everybody listens to on the audio podcast. This is the one that goes up. Remember to like, to recommend the video, leave your feedback on the podcast, the audio podcast, for people on Spotify and iTunes. We want to hear your feedback and recommend it as well. If you recommend it, that makes more people hear our stuff over the platforms. We're doing all right on iTunes at the moment. We're doing all right on Spotify as well. Remember to get the stuff out there. And that's to all my iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify posse. What should I say, posse? Anyway, we're on YouTube, so if you want to listen to us in the car, on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, and if you want to see our ugly faces, you can always come on YouTube and watch us on YouTube as well. So, the news that's coming in at the moment is McLaren. Actually, let's talk about the last one. What do you think of the last race? Oscar Piastri deserved?
I reckon.
Miami?
Yeah, I reckon he deserved it. I thought, he got the strategy right, and he won it from the start. And he drove the race really well, checked out well, and he had a fairly clean race. He made the difference between him and Lando, in that race, is that Piastri was making his positions up quicker, and which allowed him to gain away, get him more clean air. And with Lando, he was always stuck. He was stuck behind Max for so many laps.
Facts.
But Piastri was gaining away, got clear air, and that McLaren car is again, I think, favourites going into this weekend. I think it'll be favourites for a lot of weekends, especially this weekend. The way the track's set up, it's going to be favourites in there.
Yeah, it's facts. Italian GP. It's facts.
You know,
facts, man. It's fact. You're
we
right.
saw Lando is kind of good for this track, so he's supposed to be better than Piastri at this track. So hopefully Lando gets a good result. You know, of course, me being a British person, and supporting a British man. So hopefully Lando gets a good result out of this race. And McLaren's, I think, going into this weekend into favourites.
Yeah, but Miami one, it was like basically, look, he stole the show, really, didn't he? He stole the show. Lando, he stole the show, man. And not Lando, Piastri stole the show. He's showing why all that time when we was paying all that money for him. Remember when I think it was Alpine what paid for his whole career, and then when he got to the big time, he jumped ship and went to McLaren. You could see why McLaren was making that move, making that money. You get me? Paying big money for Oscar Piastri. You can see it now. I remember when people were saying, when Oscar Piastri went to McLaren. I remember me and you saying on these videos, we used to say, what's the rivalry between them two in the future? You've got two young drivers. Both of them are good they're as good as each other. I think at the moment, I think he's a bit rattled by Max Verstappen. I think, Lando. I think Lando's a bit rattled when it comes to wheel racing with Max Verstappen. I think he's a bit rattled, and I don't know why he's rattled, but it seems like he is a bit rattled. What's your thoughts on that, Toto? I think he's rattled. I do.
Oh, Lando rattled.
I'm not.
I reckon. I know where you're coming from, because you can see in the interviews. I've always been saying this all season that he likes to put himself down in the interviews. He doesn't seem like a positive guy. No, he said, like, if he gets a bad position, he starts being bitter.
You're right.
He starts being bitter, and just down, and there's no positive there. Like, let's say I'll take Nico Rosberg for an example. Yeah, how many times he was battling with Lewis every year, and this is 1 year, where he literally blocked out his whole family, blocked out everything, focused on himself for that 1 year, and he went on to win the title and beat Lewis. And beating Lewis is not a hard thing, and he did that. Yeah.
But no, I just think what it is,
and
like,
it's about I think he loses his concentration too much.
I know exactly what you're saying, because I remember Button addressed it on one of the shows, didn't he? Jensen Button says he needs to, like, stop feeling down on himself. He's got the best car, and just stop being too negative. Because what happens when you start being negative, right? You're on that slippery slope. Every race you approach, you think, oh, I'm not going to get anywhere. I'm not going to do this. And then you get that mindset, that negative mindset, and you don't want that in Formula One. See, the thing about it, when Lando Norris didn't have the fastest car, he used to say to Lewis Hamilton, the reason why Lewis Hamilton was winning is because he had the fastest car. He didn't say much about Max Verstappen, but when Lewis was winning, he said, oh yeah, but Lewis had the fastest car. Now you've got the fastest car. You have to win. Because Oscar Piastri is winning, and you're not. Because Oscar Piastri, when he went past Max Verstappen at Miami, no problem, first or second time, he actually made Max Verstappen, he forced Max Verstappen into a mistake to lock up, so he overtook him. But with Lando Norris, it took him about 4 or 5 laps to pass Max Verstappen. Maybe, this is why I was talking about him being rattled. Maybe when last season, when I had a couple of wheel-to-wheel, and Max Verstappen kind of buffed him off the track, maybe that's still in his head. He's probably thinking, when I approach Max Verstappen, what's going to happen? Is he going to throw me off the track, or is it going to be clean? And I reckon he's a bit hesitant passing Max Verstappen on the track, and he shouldn't be. He shouldn't be, because Lando Norris is a brilliant driver. I remember when Lando first got to McLaren, he is a generational talent. But what he needs to do is get this out of his mind and say, the mistake Lando Norris made when he first started this season. The first thing that he said, I know how to beat Max Verstappen now. Putting Max Verstappen on his pedestal. How about you just keep your mouth shut, and get on with your job like Piastri's doing. Piastri just bowls up to every weekend and think, right, I'm going to get qualifying and I'm going to win the race. What are you going to do? That's what I think. That's what Lando should have that as well. What do you think? I think he should have that mindset because it seems like he's a bit on edge.
Piastri's completely doing him over in the mindset game.
Yeah.
Piastri, there's times where he's finished behind Lando, but he always comes back a stronger driver.
Yeah.
And even Martin Brundle has said this multiple times on Sky Sports that it's a really good asset to have if you got a good mindset.
He's very calm.
Very calm, collective,
Yeah.
and even if he wins the race, you don't like when drivers go crazy and that you don't really go crazy. You're just like and
exactly.
Next one. Look, if with me, I'll be celebrating my I'll be celebrating like crazy if I win a race. But with Piastri, he's got that calm mindset in it.
Yeah.
It's a really good asset to have, and Lando just needs to fix up. And we've been saying this almost all season that Lando needs to fix up quickly if he wants to win his title, because he has to nail his qualifying. Because qualifying's, I think, nowhere near good enough.
No.
And his race starts. He hasn't
not good enough.
nailed his race start. That's what lost him the title last season,
Yes.
I think. He lost him on so many points, and then DNFs as well. So many points last. You might say, oh yeah, he got more points next race, but that's points last at the end of the day that Verstappen's gained on him. I'm talking about last season, but this season he's losing out on points, coming second, fourth in some races. Russell got a podium last time, so he finished fourth. He can't be going on like this if he goes win the title, because I think I might agree with you here that battle from Max probably rattled him a bit, because Max took it to him, innit? And
last season, I think it started from last season.
Yeah.
And I think he's still psychological, not fully. I think he's slightly psychological damaged in there.
That's that. This is what makes a great driver.
Yeah.
Good mindset. Look at Lewis Hamilton.
And Senna. Michael
Look
Schumacher.
at Hamilton got robbed of a title. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, I'll
he
stick to it till the day I die. Yeah,
human error.
Lewis Hamilton got robbed of a title, and it was even admitted it was by human error, and it should have ended on a safety car.
Yeah.
So don't want to come argue with me, But with Lewis Hamilton, how do you think he come back from that? Meditation, calm mindset. Lewis Hamilton does a lot of meditating, and he has a mentor to focus on his mindset, and that it's a really it's a powerful thing. It's your brain at the end of the day. Your brain controls your body.
Exactly.
It sends signals. Your body sends signals to your brain. Your brain is literally just a second human to you.
Yeah.
And if that's not straight, you're finished.
You're right. You're totally right. But at the end of the day, look, we got the Grand Prix coming in this week, and it's going to be a good Grand Prix, I think. So let's talk about some news what broke today. McLaren have been cleared of illegally using liquid to cool their tyres, with Oscar Piastri car found to be in complaint with the tyre regulations during the Miami GP. And it says McLaren cleared of all charges. Basically, I think it was Red Bull what we're accusing them of cheating. Flipping now. Red Bull. You know what I mean? Right. Red Bull of all teams, said that there was clear of all charges. And it's typical Red Bull. Anyone, right, who manages to build a quicker car, they always have to say it was cheating, which is crazy to me, because if you consider that they've been the most rule breakers in the past decade in Formula One, Red Bull, and because they know they haven't got the fastest car, they're trying to throw all this at them. This is what I was trying to tell you now. That's why I've titled it, "Is Max Done?" This is why I've titled the Flame Mark episode, "Is Max Done?" Can you honestly say now? I think I said it a few weeks ago. I think he ain't winning this title this year. I said it a couple of weeks ago. It's between the two.
No chance.
Between the two McLaren guys. I would even be surprised if Russell catches him up. If Russell finishes higher than Max Verstappen, because that Mercedes is a fast car. Even Colapinto, who's the Mercedes guy again? What's his name? The Mercedes.
Antonelli.
Not Antonelli. I wouldn't be surprised if Antonelli is going to start moving up as well, because you remember this is his home race. He was born half an hour away from Imola, by the way, by Emilia Romagna. He was born half an hour away from this place, and he's going to have a big audience following him everywhere. And this will be his big test. This will be his big test. Can he win his first Grand Prix? He'll be up there. So it's not necessarily it's going to be, we know it's probably going to end up being 1 and 2 McLaren, but it's not definite that Max Verstappen's going to get third in the championship. That might be down to Russell or even down to Antonelli. What's your thoughts on that? No, what's your thoughts on the regulation thing first? About them being cleared and Red Bull saying
Red Bull did the same with the DAS system, and it worked with the DAS system.
That was Mercedes.
I know it was Mercedes, but Red Bull like to complain a lot. Even though they do it themselves a lot at the times, a majority of the time, they like to complain and be a little bit of aggressed. It's understandable. But this McLaren thing, it was a brake trick. What they call it. Is where the brakes cool, and that allows the braking system to stop overheating, which allows better braking power going into the corner. And basically what that does, it puts less pressure on the tires. This is why they can probably go on long stints. Because less heat is going into the tires because it's the core of the brake. Because the brakes are literally next door to the tires. They're right there. So when the brakes are hot, the tires will get hot. But if the brakes stay cool, and of course you got that altitude and stuff like that and the temperature to track temperature, because track temperature is at least 40-50 degrees, and that can get the brakes hot. When you can when that McLaren trick, which it's just passed, that can cool down the brakes, and that puts less pressure on the tires, which can allow a better strategy to be in place. Because strategy, of course, you want to go longer as possible, not overboard, where you're going to lose track position and where you're going to lose time to the driver behind you. So it allows McLaren to potentially get more results and go longer on the tyres, because their brakes will always stay cool, and that means the tyres will stay cooler, and that will put less tyre life on the tyres. There's still going to be tyre life because you've got track temperature to go and play. But it will be less. It will be save the pit windows like 20 to 25 laps. McLaren can go for 30, or 33, or something like that.
That's the advantage they've got over everybody. Even them little slight margins makes up in the race, doesn't it? All them slight margins. You're totally right, Soto. Great analysis from there. Very detailed analysis. Big up to you, bro. Big up for that. But yeah, man, that's it. So this weekend, we're going into this weekend. We're just going to finish it off now. Who's your favourites? Before we go, who's your favourites? Because we know this is a triple header. This is the first of a triple header. And who's your favourites for this weekend? So I'm going to ask you first. Who's your favourite for the qualifying? And who's your favourite for the... I know it hasn't started yet, the weekend, but I'm just asking you. Who's your favourite for the weekend for pole? And who's your top three? The top three for pole and the top three for the race. Who is it? And it doesn't have to be in order. You could just set the three people.
So like pole, I'm gonna go with either. I think the top three is gonna be. I think Max is gonna be in there. Piastri and Norris. And for the race, I think Norris will take the victory.
So okay, so you think
decent here.
So the top three is going to be Norris, Piastri, and Max for the pole. Top three.
Yeah, I reckon Max for the pole.
You think Max is going to get pole over the McLarens?
Yeah, but I think in the race he's going to get blown to dust, and then the race is it's going to be Piastri win.
What about who's your top three for the race? Your top three. So you got Piastri for the win. What about 2 and 3?
Piastri win, Lando second, and I'm going to say George Russell third.
Right. For me, for the qualifying, I think it's going to be Oscar Piastri pole. Second's going to be Lando, and 3 is going to be. I'm just going to call it on there. What's his name? Russell. I think Russell will get third. I don't know why. I think Russell's going to get third, but the top 2 will be McLaren. For the race, I think it's going to be Oscar Piastri. Now, I think for the race, it's going to be Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, and third is going to be, Antonelli. Because he's a homeboy, isn't it? Antonelli, I think Antonelli. I think he's got something to his sleeve. His home race, I think he's getting more confident in that car, showing it as well. I saw his media today, getting very, very, very mature for his age. He's very well-spoken. You can tell he's proper media trained now, because, you know, they're all media trained now, innit, when they talk to the press. And he seems like he's just a nice guy. And you know who he looks like as well? I'm not sure if you... I think you have said it. He reminds of Ayrton Senna. He looks a bit like Ayrton Senna, young Ayrton Senna. And that's not a bad thing, is it, winning Formula One? If he can have half of his skills, he's on a good track. So he's on a good track. Yeah. So that's it, man. That's the episode. Everybody's watching us on iTunes and Spotify and Stitcher. This is another episode of the Flaming Tarmac. This is episode 70. This will be going on iTunes. And that's it, man. That's it, bro. So, Toto, anything to say before we leave?
No, I think I say really. Just keep subscribing, keep liking.
Yeah. Like the video. Growing. Like. You don't have to talk. Like.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like the video. And for people on iTunes. And for iTunes and Spotify people and Stitcher, remember, recommend the videos. I'll see you later, guys. Formula One starts tomorrow. Big up to everybody. Big up to the man them. Big up to the woman them. Bye.